Haumia mai runga, haumia mai raro, haumia mai ngā wai horapa, kia tū taki, takina te wai, takina te tai. He wai ai o, hei ai o, hei ratipua, hei re tāwhito. Miri a te kiri, miri a te wairua. Whiri whiri a te ihorangi ki te ahonuku. He aurere, he auora, kia tūturu, whakamaua, kia tīna. Haumi e, hui e.
Ai.
Kia ora e te whare. Tuatahi, tēnei te mihi ki a koutou, tēnei te mihi ki ngā hapu o Ngāti Maniapoto whānau whānui. I've personally had the privilege to be held by the whenua and wai of your beautiful rohe for a large portion of my life. From the Oparo Awa to Taumata Moana whenua, Harihari Lake, and my siblings and I would race our hoiho along the black sand beaches of Harihari Beach, to Taurangi, between Aria and Ohura and the steep, steep hill country, and to Waimiha and the waters of the Ongarue and the Maramatanga, to the mana whenua of these beautiful places in mihi ana. Ko waio, I belong to my tūpuna maunga tauhara e koro e one mātua. I belong to my maunga tapu ko maunga namu, he tamaiti o koro tauhara rawa ko kui pihanga. I belong to the sacred waters of Te Awa Waikato, he piko he tani wha, to the mangamotu and her repo, to te karetu o Ngā Toroirangi, the spring that sprung forth when Ngā Toroirangi placed his tokotoko in the one. Ki te tihi o tauhara maunga, a stream that still flows to this day. I belong to my beautiful moana, ko Tauponui Ate, ko te kopua kānapanapa, ko te manawa o te ika a Māui tiki tiki. I belong to my people, Ngāti Rauhoto, rawa ko Ngāti Tiringa at Nukuhau, Ngāti Tūte Te Whā at Waitahanui, no te Hikuai, no Tūwharetoa, ko Natalya Gibson ahau.
Tēnā rā tātou katoa, i te tāo tōku pāpā, ko tongorero te maunga, ko taupo te moana, ko Ngāti Tūwharetoa te iwi, ko Ngāti te maunga me Ngāti Rui Ngārangi ngā hapū, ko te hiuhi te tangata. I te tāo tōku māma, ko hikurangi te maunga, ko waiapu te awa, ko Ngāti Parau te iwi, ko te aitanga a mate, te whānawa rā Kairoa me te whānawa rūtaia ngā hapū, ko rongo haere te marae, ko Mahora Manuel-Hepi tōku ingoa. I'm a tauira o te Taiao, my second year in research of my master's degree at Te Ringa Waka. I'm also a part-time contractor to the Tūwharetoa Māori Trust Board and our Project Kaitiaki team. Today we are here to kōrero on behalf of our rangatahi rōpū, Ngā Taikura Taiao o Tūwharetoa, with some of our whānau here today. A rangatahi-ish rōpū dedicated to addressing Taiao matters within our rohe. We often use the term rangatahi quite loosely when we kōrero, because sometimes we feel a bit too old to claim that rangatahi title. But I think for us working in the Taiao space, we have often been the youngest people in the room. For our rōpū, this started at Te Kura Taiao ki Tūwharetoa in March 2024. Under the guidance of our whanaunga Tina Parau, our Project Kaitiaki and Poipoia teams organised our first Kura Taiao. This kaupapa saw over 200 of our people come together in a space where we could openly share, connect, and talk about our Taiao in a way that wasn't an AGM. The 2-day wānanga saw a range of different Kaikōrero who were artists, maramataka practitioners, gardeners, hunters, and whānau who shared their unique connections to te Taiao. Opening Kura Taiao was our taina who spoke about au hapu and haukainga of Ngāti Tūte Mōhuta. Natalya presented to our iwi about her waitiaki mahi on our wai in Tūwharetoa. There was also an hour session dedicated to rangatahi with facilitated pātai around our dreams, aspirations, and issues with our Taiao in Tūwharetoa. As you can see in the bottom left photo, me, Reeve, Wahine and Hepi spoke on different aspects of our Taiao, from succession planning into Taiao spaces, governance, jobs, connection to home, and the importance of making mokopuna decisions. We were able to bring a diverse perspective from each of our own experiences into an open iwi forum that often hasn't provided spaces for a collective rangatahi voice. For us as rangatahi, we were able to plant the seeds of hope for our Taiao with our people, but more so for ourselves.
The ingoa Ngā Taikura Taiao Tūwharetoa was gifted to us by our kaumātua from our iwi koro Paranapa Otami. And so what we did is we had a wānanga at Hirangi Marae under the manaki of Tūrangi Tukua. We held our wānanga on Oike, o te whao Mahuru. Oike is a give back day to Papa Tuanuku, so we thought that was a good day to have a wānanga about her. Koro named us, well, he gave a few variations of the name, as our kaumātua usually speak in kind of riddles and you have to work for it. And so we put together Ngā Taikura. Individually, when you break the kupi down, Tai represents the natural realms of our Taiao, and Kura, our most sacred possessions. When you put them together, they form the Taikura. The Taikura is the strong heartwood of the mighty tōtara. It is made up of many rings, representing the growth of the rākau, with the outermost growth protected in the centre and the newest growth wrapping around the exterior. To us, Ngā Taikura Taiao is the coming together of rangatahi from all across Tūwharetoa and the coming together of different realms of Taiao to wrap around and strengthen the heartwood of our Taiao and our hapu.
Since March 2024, as a rōpū, we've undertaken 2 Taiao wānanga, participated in the Motutere Reserve Management hearing with Taupo District Council and Ngāti Te Rangita ki Waitotoko, stood united in mana whenua forums in Arohe, and last week spoke on a panel session with the Fonterra Sustainability Advisory Committee. Our first wai wānanga, we had around 20 rangatahi turn up throughout the days. We went through whakawhanaungatanga, site visits to the awa, schmack kit testing, and understanding the tohu Taiao around us. 2 key pātai we wānanga on were how would you like your connection and protection of Te Taiao to look in the future, and what tools do we need to realise this future? After another few months of late night zoes, we organised a noho at Hirangi Marae on September 21st to 22nd. These 2 wānanga were essential in us connecting as rangatahi and understanding our strengths going forward. This year we've begun our Taiao Declaration Strategic Planning Series. We have received interest within Arohe regarding mapping Taiao observations using takiwa and reviewing rangatahi initiatives throughout the motu. And our Kura Taiao planned for September. A few weeks ago, the engine room of our rōpū met for the first time this year and decided that our focus now was to develop our Taiao Declaration and strategy as a rōpū. We felt it was important now to kōrero on what our Taiao values are, our moimoi are, and how we go about mobilising ourselves within our Taiao. The 5 aspects of Taiao we have centred our focus on is whenua, ngahere, wai Māori, te ahi tāmau, geothermal, and our people. Some of our key pieces of kōrero we had when thinking about our biggest blue sky aspirations regarding our wai Māori was we want to restore our native taonga species to sustainably thrive in our wai, our kokopu, kuaro, morihana, inanga, kaura, kākahi. We want our lake to remain drinkable for future generations. We want all infrastructure removed from the Tongariro National Park. We want all hydro dams removed from our waterways. We want our wai to freely flow throughout our rohe, and we want the consented maximum level of Lake Taupo to be lowered. Now this year, we continue to strategise on how and what we can do on the ground to work towards our ultimate Taiao aspirations, and by doing so, reconnecting with our whakapapa in a way that once was for our tupuna.
This slide is to showcase some of the individual mahi and brilliance of some of our members in our rōpū. I just want to quickly introduce our whānau on stage. So we have Te Wharau Walker, no Tūrangi Tukua, Taina Kupa, no Tūte Mohuta, Ngā Pera Nichols, no Tūte Tawhā, Wahine Tapu Merch, no Tūte Mohuta, and Te Kahu o Te Rangi Ngā Whika Pihema, no Tūte Tawhā, Rauhotoa and Turinga. So first and foremost, I think we are ringawera, we are tītau slingers and waiata tautoko singers. We are the pā kids who have stepped up to be marae trustees, hapu reps, stepping up into any space that we are needed. Some of the individual mahi of our rōpū, we have kāinga coaches working towards getting housing for our people, also working towards increasing capability in Māori governance. We have kaimahi for ngā kaihautu o te awa Waikato, which is our awa committee in Tūwharetoa. We have kaimahi at the Tūwharetoa Settlement Trust, and the Tūwharetoa Māori Trust Board, at Te Kapua Whakapipi, which is our Araki's office, at Tupuangitu, which is the financial arm of Lake Taupo Forest Trust, in which we also have 2 associate trustees on. We also have a trustee on Te Pae o Waimihia, which is one of our biggest forestry trusts in Aotearoa. And yeah. So now I'm just going to talk a little bit about the individual mahi of Mahora and I. But this mahi has been tautoko a lot by our rōpū. So I am a kaimahi at the Tūwharetoa Māori Trust Board. We call it Waitiaki now, but what it originally was called is Section 33, which is the transfer of powers from WRC to the Tūwharetoa Māori Trust Board. The transfer was water quality monitoring functions. And so basically, in a nutshell, that means instead of WRC coming into Aotearoa and doing the testing, I do it instead, and this is inclusive of surface and groundwaters. Our logo, so our logo represents all the taniwha kaitiaki in our moana. In the centre, the third eye or the crown is our moana. Around the edges, we have fishbone patterns which represent the awa that all flow into the moana, and the tongue is te awa waikato, where our wai leaves our rohe as one. Part of our mahi, we were asked to create a mātauranga Māori monitoring framework. We don't know what that is, so we just made our Tohu Taiao journal instead. And so our Tohu Taiao journal is a physical journal, and it's a year-long monitoring plan which encourages seasonal monitoring. So there's data sheets and pages for every season. And I would call it more of a capability connection framework, as we're trying to encourage more so the hononga to the wai and just encourage our whānau to get out there and have a look, really, more so than a monitoring framework. We're attempting to build the capability of our people using SHMAT kits, but we've kind of tried to put a more te ao Māori lens on this and simplify it a bit. So our goal is not exactly really good data collection yet, because we're not at that level. So we're trying to build ourselves to that level with this journal. But we are trying to get there with the data, so we've banded our data in the way that the WRC bands theirs with their water quality guideline limits, to try and start building the understanding of what the data means. So also what we're attempting to do with this journal is to give equal weight to pūtaiao and tohu taiao. And so on screen are some examples of the pātai prompts that the journal asks, and they're based around our senses, which works really well with our logo. So the tohu taiao contextualize the Western data we are gathering. And so tohu taiao observation leads to pattern recognition, which leads to mātauranga. And this is important because the climate is changing, and so is our tohu taiao, and in turn, our mātauranga. The maramataka of our elders is becoming less accurate. The winds are blowing from different directions. Puitakawa are blooming on the different side of the rākau. There are less manu around, so it's changing. So we must record our observations and create our maramataka of today to pass down to our children. So we also really encourage the recording of tohu taiao against maramataka. And some of our marama are actually named after tohu taiao, and I'm just going to share my latest learning. And so I'll just preface this by, this might be common knowledge to some of you, but I didn't know until Te Taiao taught me herself. So in Tūwharetoa, our second and third names for the tangaro phases are tangaro mataura, the crimson face of tangaro, and then tangaro matakiokio. And I always wondered why kiokio. And then we were out monitoring one day, and I seen a streak of red running along the riverbanks. And so the kiokio fern, when they have new roots, they are pink. And then through the water, which is also associated to tangaro, you see that colouring. And so the tangaro moons, they rise around midnight in the depths of Te Pō. And so when they're rising, it's quite a vibrant colour. And while today we might see it more as an orange or yellow, Perhaps our tupuna saw it as red, which then bears the question, how much has the atmosphere changed in the time of our tupuna to now? So first we have Tohu Taiao, which we're encouraging, look around, look everywhere. Then our second section is Tiro Tiro Awa, which we're trying to bring the focus to the awa herself. So we have indicators and then our methods. So for the flow, we've called our method Tiro Tiro Toto. For riverbank vegetation, we've called it Tiro Tiro Tahataha. For stream bed composition, Tiro Tiro Whaiawa. Periphyton and algae is Tiro Tiro Pukohu Wai. And invertebrates, Tiro Tiro Ngangara. And so we have an example of our Tiro Tiro Whaiawa data sheets. And I just want to talk to the key, the colouring of the key. And so green, we've seen means wai Māori. The wai has a great ability to sustain life. Yellow is wai pai. It's got an all right ability to sustain life. And red is wai kore. And the kore is in the way that it's lacking the ability to sustain life and needs some awhi.
Next in our journal, we have a section on Pūtaiao, looking at 6 different water quality parameters using the SCHMAC kit, such as temperature, pH, EC, visual clarity, velocity, and nitrate. For each parameter, we have interpreted the importance of that measure in relation to our wai and mahinga kai. We also use this banding scale with Waikato Regional Council's water quality guidelines as our banding scale. And we have also, on the next pages, have QR codes to link to Excel spreadsheets we have on our website, so our whānau can input their data as they go seasonally throughout the journey, and it will graph automatically. Also in our Tohu Taiao journal, to assist our whānau, we have created a series of Taiao ID pages with a Tūwharetoa wind compass, a cloud finder, ngangara, ika, and manu pages with QR codes to different manu sounds and information. The intention behind this being to support our whānau in connecting to their wai Māori and Taiao around them. We also have pages for our Tūwharetoa maramataka, ngā mata o te marama, and the corresponding morning stars which denote the month, so whānau are able to know any seasonal Taiao patterns. So, what advice do we have for other rangatahi who might be in the same waka where they want to come together and just start? 1, is find your Taiao people. Hit those cousins up that always hit the AGMs and the huis, the ones that always go hunting every other weekend, the ones who know all the waiata, all the pūrākau, and the one who just started out at uni. Harness your superpowers. You don't have to work in te Taiao. We had a whanaunga who was starting out in his videography mahi that used our wānanga to practice his skills. And in turn, we were then able to use his videos to apply for funding and share on his kaupapa. Find tuakana and Pakeke that will support you. We're lucky to also have some Taiao legends in our iwi, like Tino Parau, Maria Nepia, Maiawi Kaira, and Tanya Wells to inspire us and support us as rangatahi, and who are open about the realities of the Taiao trauma train. Kōrero to your kaumātua. Find potential funding opportunities in your rohe to support wānanga. Start up a page or messenger group on socials. Believe in yourself. It doesn't have to go perfectly. If you're sitting at tables where your whakaaro isn't honoured, then build your own table. And like our korotaka said, question everything.
I also have just to add to Korotaka's point, because he asked me to the other day. He wants you to also know to live in the why. And I think what he means by that is W-A-I and also W-H-Y. So yeah, that's from koro. So now I have some advice for our Pākeke. Firstly, rangatahi inclusion should not be a tick box or a cherry on top of your kaupapa. If you don't have good intentions or even well thought out intentions, maybe you have to do a bit more mahi and thinking before you come asking us to do mahi or make you look really good, because we're really cool. We also have be prepared for the whakaaro of the rangatahi to differ from status quo. That was my nice way of saying differ from your whakaaro. We have we're very staunch for our Taiao, and we don't make as much compromise as our Pākeke when it comes to her. And yeah, also to give constructive feedback and be kind to us. We are not a threat. We are your future, and every decision made, we inherit. There's a lot of mokopuna decisions being made in rooms that have no mokopuna or rangatahi in them, and that's a problem. Succession planning should be active and not last minute. Please do not sit on your trust for 10 years, and then when you decide to leave, be scrambling for a replacement. Kia ora. We need space to learn and grow, so make space for us. Do not gatekeep or try and bar us out. Do not tell us to be quiet. Do not tell us to sit, because we will respectfully not do what you say. Ai. Kia ora. Tēnei te mihi kia koutou. Next, we're just going to play a quick video of our Taiao and Tūwharetoa, and our rōpū are going to sing us a waiata. Kia ora.
Oh, came out at the wrong time.
Kia ora. Iti. Te Taikura Taiao. Te Taikura Taiao. E pari ana te tai ki whea. Tai tumu tai pari. E pari ana te tai ki whea. Te Taikura Taiao. E rangi. Rangi wai whakaheke iho. Orahia ki a papa, e tipu e rea, tupu anuku tupu arangi, tupu anuku tupu arangi. E pari ana te tai ki whea, tai tumu tai pari. E pari ana te tai ki whea, Te Taikura Taiao. Te Taikura Taiao. Te Taikura Taiao. Kia ora.
Mahora.